Hello everyone! So today I'm going to be showing you guys a makeup tutorial for this specific look that I'm wearing right now, and also how I put together a kind of basic Cybergoth outfit, certain components that are quite common in Cybergoth outfits and recurrent themes you'll see, and then also how to put in and slightly maintain Cyberlox. I'm not going too in-depth just because there's a lot of stuff going on, but I'm going to be explaining how you put them in and kind of basic care instructions for them. Yeah, I really hope you enjoy. This is definitely one of my favourite goth subgenres, I guess, or subcultures within the goth subculture. I think it's so unique and so interesting, and definitely I don't think it doesn't get enough love as it should do. With the music being a bit different, it's more industrial and like kind of almost EDM-y than more traditional like goth rock. So I definitely think a lot of people just kind of don't really view them in the same sphere or don't really care about Cybergoth, but I personally love it, and yeah, I figured why not do a little tutorial for you guys. So I'm just starting off with Nivea cream just all over my face to moisturise. Remember to move it down to your neck as well, because if you're putting product on your neck you're going to want same level of moisture. With like any skincare, you want to be pulling it down to your neck. Now that my face is moisturised, I'm going to be going in with the MUA Pro Base in shade 100, and then the Revolution Conceal and Define in shade F0, which is white, and going to combine them on my face about a 50-50 mix. Cybergoth is one of the palest I tend to pale myself out to. I very rarely do pure white, so paling myself out with about a 50-50 split is about as far as I'll get when it comes to white foundation. So I'm just going to kind of dot this around my face. One of the many things that I really like about Cybergoth is how unique it is. The Cyberlox, they are one of my favourite style accessories that I've really ever been able to find. I think it's so cool. I think most of us probably watched the Cybergoth dancing under a bridge video. Either the Thomas the Tank Engine version or the normal one, but we probably all watched that at some point. And at least for me, that always stuck as like a pretty cool thing. And then got to university and remembered that I had free will and money now, so I could do it. I'm just going to go in blending this across my face with a beauty blender. I would say in general Cybergoth has definitely lost some of its popularity over the last few years. It's kind of become a bit of a meme. I mean, at least it was with that Cybergoth dancing under the bridge video, which is all a lot of people could really talk about for a long time. It was very popular kind of in like the early 2000s and 90s. There are still events going on today and stuff. There's one near where I live called Bunker 13, which is absolutely brilliant. And there are definitely a few others. I don't go to many. I have occasionally gone out, like just regular clubbing, to like normal alternative clubs, not even goth clubs, like just alternative clubs in Cyberlox. There's always got some interesting results from that. I'm one of the very few Cybergoths that I've ever seen in public and in real life. And even when I go to like Cybergoth events, a lot of people obviously have kind of stopped dressing up the full 9 yards. Like, there's normally only really ever 3 of us max at the Cybergoth events I go to who wear Cyberlox. I've gone to a few alternative markets wearing them as well. They're definitely very fun to wear. And as I said in the beginning of the video, I'll explain how to wear Cyberlox and how to care for them at the end. I'm just going back in with that white foundation and putting quite a lot of it under my eyes to pale them out, to help kind of brighten my under eye area as well. So now I'm just going to be powdering over my entire face with the Invisible Silk powder from Makeup Academy. Quite heavily powdering everywhere to set everything. Specifically, I find industrial dancing, not that I'm very good at it and I will not be showing off any of my skills anytime soon, but when I do it, I find it to be incredibly hard and very, very sweaty, so I like to set my base specifically, just so that I don't look even patchier than when I started off. For contour, I'm just going to be using my Beauty Bay Smoky palette. It's absolutely ginormous, and I'm going to be taking like this brush here. I don't know if you can really see, but this brush here, and I'm essentially going to be dipping into these two colours, mixing between them. This is a little bit too grey, and that's not quite grey enough, so hopefully mixing them will kind of give me the perfect colour. And then just going into kind of my classic contour points on the cheeks and under the chin. And I'm not going to bother doing any forehead contour because pretty much that's going to be overshadowed by the Cyberlox themselves. And I also pull parts of my fringe out. Okay, so I've got my base and it's now time to go into my least favourite part, eyebrows. So I'm going to use my like e.l.f. like eyeliner dip pot. It's pretty just basic dip eyeliner. They're very, very thin and arched, the brows I'm going to do. Cybergoth in general, there's like hundreds of different brow styles. I often just won't do eyebrows, or I'll only do one eyebrow and then one eye has something different. So yeah, there's lots of different like options that you can do. Yeah, so I'm starting with like not very much product on my eyebrow brush, and then I'm just going to go very, very angular and arched, quite high up above my natural brow bone. I swear to God, every time I get ready without a camera in front of me, my eyebrows are like decently fine. But whenever I have an event, have a camera in front of me, or like have any sort of slight time limitation, I don't know if it's because I've got the time limitation, my eyebrows always mess up. They are the bane of my existence. It is what it is though, I guess. So now I've got the rough shape of my eyebrows, I'm just going in with the white on the underside of it and carving it out and patting the white down a bit to highlight my kind of underbrow area. Because it's so high up, I can afford to do quite a lot of white and still have a lot of like real estate on the eyelid itself to do designs and stuff with, if I want to. Okay, so eyebrows are like pretty much done. I'm leaving them a tiny bit probably less blended than I would normally. So to match with the colour of my Cyberlox, which are this sort of neon green, like a mix of different neon green. So now that I've got the eyebrows done, I'll be going in for eyeshadow, and I don't know if you can see them back there, but I do have green Cyberlox. So I'll be using a few different like green shades, specifically very neon and bright green shades, but you can match with whatever outfit you're wearing. You can do loads of different colours. Cybergoth is one of those sub-styles that has a lot of like black undercolour outfits, like I've seen yellow, red, orange, pink, green, blue, any colour you can think of. It's probably been done in Cybergoth. So I'm going to be using this Sample Beauty Intensity palette, which is a really cool palette full of very, very bright colours, and those two greens in the bottom corner are awesome. And then the Skepta palette by Be Perfect, which was the collaboration with the Vivian, has a few greens in it that are pretty good. And obviously that black is my favourite black. And then just for sparkle purposes, because I like sparkles, I'm going to be going in the Revolution Chilled palette, which I'm not going to say much about that one, but it's got some good green tones in it. So I would probably recommend using an eye primer, but I don't have one, so I won't be using an eye primer. And I'm going to be starting by taking the Intensity palette and taking that very bottom like neon green right there. And that's going to be just basically going all over the top of my lid, and I'm not bringing any of it under my eye at all. I'm going to be taking that quite far up to under my eyebrow, because my eyebrow is very intensely arched. I've got a lot of space and I want to use that space. I'm going to be using that very, very bright green from the Skepta palette, this one here. It's slightly brighter. I don't know if there's much colour difference on camera, but it is slightly brighter and more pigmented than this palette. So I'm going in with this one on not quite as far up as this other one, but definitely still pretty heavily over the lid. I'm still using that same big fluffy brush but if you've got like only one shade of green like this, you could use a floppy brush to do the first bit and then pack on like a flat packing brush the green to give it more pigment if it's not too pigmented, or if you just want to slightly change like the kind of visible colour of it. A lot of it packed together is going to have a very slightly different colour to it blended out. I was going to go outside after this and film some like outfit shots, but I think the rain has dictated that will not be happening. Okay, now that I've got those two down, I'm going to be taking the Revolution Chilled palette, and I'm just going to be going into this like shade here. It's a very like very shimmery shade, and I'm going to be taking that on just like any kind of flat brush. And I'm going to be doing that same technique that I did in the last video of kind of putting it in the corner and like swooshing it out just a bit. Taking just a black eyeliner pencil, this is the Revolution one, I'm going to be lining my waterline of my bottom and nothing of the top. I'm going to be putting no eyeliner on the top lid of my eye. Everything's going on the bottom. I'm making this line a little bit thicker than I would for just a pure waterline one, but it's also not majorly thick. And I'm not bringing it, again, up onto that top lid. My top lid's left untouched. So now that you've lined the bottom, I'm going to be taking my liquid liner, and from the bottom line up, I'm going to be doing a pretty big and dramatically angled wing. So I'll do one and then I'll kind of show you what I mean by just coming from that bottom one. If you can kind of see here, how like I have connected it to my top, but there's not much eyeliner on the top line, and it's pretty thin and is jutting out from that bottom line. So I'm going to repeat that on the other eye. I don't know if you just heard, but there was thunder outside. Now that the eyeliner is kind of how we wanted it to look, we're going to be going in again with that same liquid eyeliner and doing decals. There are a few options you can do for this. A lot of people do kind of warning symbols or like toxic waste symbols like these. Some people do more like electric circuit board kind of esque vibe like this. I can't really do any of the symbols very well. I've tried, I'm not the best at them, but I'd absolutely love to get better at them. But I tend to just do the more kind of... Jesus, it's raining heavily. I accidentally disconnected my microphone from my laptop, so I've only got the scratch audio from the camera, which is really bad quality, so I'm just going to do this in a voiceover. But I'm just taking my like skinny dip pot eyeliner and choosing a point in my eye to start from and just doing lines out from that, and I'm pretty much always doing them with right angles. There's no science to this, it's just kind of random lines connecting from each other. And I'm going to take this to be as big as I want and just keep going. You can do this around any parts of your face. Do on your cheeks, you can come out from your lips. I often just choose my eyes as a kind of focal point. I've done eyeliner that's shaped like this and stuff, and so as you can see, it's just kind of gone further up and around my eye. And then I'm going to take like this skinny end of a brush. It's sort of not quite a perfect point, but it's definitely pretty skinny, and I'm just going to be taking that and covering that in the eyeliner and using that as a sort of dot tool. It definitely isn't as good as other dotting tools, but it works when you don't have one. And I just do this at any corner points on the lines or at the end of lines that don't have like another line connected to them. You don't have to do this on everyone, and again, this is completely up to you and how you want to do it and how creative you want to get with it. I decided to do some more coming out from the inner corner of my eye to kind of just connect them and make it like a whole big swooping under eye piece. And it's a little bit more difficult here just because it's obviously on a slightly more smaller and curved part of my eye, but that's where I find the like skinniness of the e.l.f. eyeliner pot to be one of the best parts because it makes that so much of an easier situation to deal with. So now that I've got that final shape, I am going to be taking the opposite end of the brush that I'd used to like dip all these in, and basically just be taking like the end of it that's got the really skinny brush, dipping that brush into the white foundation, and then just using that to create smaller dots on the inside of the bigger black dots. This can be the same colour foundation as yours, it can be white eyeliner, white whatever, you can do coloured eyeliner as well. I just use the white foundation as I find it dries the best and doesn't smudge as easy. And I'm just going to do that over like pretty much every dot. You don't have to do every dot. I tend to, just for the sake of like adding a bit more dimension and depth to the eyeliner look. So that's the finished like eyeliner decals, and I'm just now going to go in with some black mascara on my lashes just to kind of cover up any leftover foundation that's there. And I'm just choosing to go in with a classic black lipstick, and I'm lining it with just a black kohl eyeliner, and then going in with the e.l.f. lipstick in black. You can do a lot of colours. I've even seen people continue like eyeliner decals down onto the lips. I just chose to simply go with black, as I think I wanted to draw most of the attention to the one eye that had all of the eyeliner on it. The next part I'm going to be kind of talking through is the hair with Cybergoth. Most of us will know pictures of Cybergoths with Cyberlox in, and they're definitely not a common thing to find. I get all of mine from this brand called Cyberlox shop. They are a UK-based brand, but they ship worldwide. So these are my Cyberlox, or Cyberfalls as some people call them. They're not intended to look like dreadlocks. They are not intended to mimic dreadlocks, and they're not the same as dreadlocks. They are literal just tubes of plastic. I don't really know how you'd explain this, but it's sort of like a plastic netting. And then a lot of them will have other plastic bits in them. So like I've got these foam belt straps, I guess you'd call them. And I had another pair, I used to have another pair that had like really thin black PVC tubing. They're very customizable, you can add a lot into them. They normally come in a pair like this. Most commonly you'll see people wear like pigtails of them. You'll see ponytails quite a lot of the time too, but I see most of the time pigtails, like one on each side. You want to store Cyberlox like this. You want to tie them or clip them to like a trousers coat hanger and hang them down. The nature of the plastic, especially, I find like these bits, they bend and like form a shape really easily, so if you're putting them in a bag and leaving them in a bag, when you go to wear them you're going to have to like consistently try and like bend and reshape them, which is obviously kind of a frustrating thing to do for something that like, these are probably about £40. Like a decently standard pair like this, which had no like alterations or anything to it. This is just the bog standard. I think they're called like mean green or something. Hang on, I will find out. Okay, no, so these are the extreme green Cyberlox from Cyberlox shop, and they are just in the like shoulder range, and they're not a wig version. I really wouldn't know how wig versions of Cyberlox work. You'd have to go to somebody else for that, but a pair of falls like this, I know what I'm talking about. Okay, so to put Cyberlox in your hair, I'm going to show you how to put them in like two on the side of your hair. I also want to preface this by saying that I have like massive shaved patches on both sides of my head, and then like a small strip. So essentially my hair is just like this little strip here. I've got none of my sides going on, so I don't have that much hair. My hair's pretty thick, so I do still have a decent amount, but a lot of it's been removed, so it won't look the exact same on yours, and you'll probably have actually bigger like buns to work with on the side. So the essential idea is you've got to put your hair into space buns, either one if you just want to do a ponytail, or two. You can't really do like regular ponytails through them, unfortunately. They need something to like kind of be wrapped around, and a normal ponytail, they're just going to fall out after a while. So you're just going to want to start by pulling any hair that you want out of the Cyberlox, so like any fringe parts or anything like that, out, and prepare them and like section them off. So I'm just going to do that. The things you're going to need to section your hair are a brush, obviously to brush through it, a comb, you're going to want hairspray, hair bands, and I'd recommend more than 2 per bun, have at least 4 minimum. I just normally have like a handful, and I've got a few different sizes, like I've got thin ones and thick ones. And then you're going to need a hell of a lot of bobby pins. Mine are just in this like little container here. You're going to need a lot. It varies each time how many I use, so just like a mystery amount of bobby pins, I guess. I brushed my hair to a point where everyone would call me Jane from Breaking Bad if I went out in public, so I'm now just gonna fully section off the parts of my fringe that I want, just using this comb for a little bit more accuracy. I'm not worrying too much about if the back of my head's like evenly sectioned, just so long as the ponytails that I've kind of created have roughly the same amount of volume to them. Like when I'm holding it in my hand, you'll pretty much be good. If you really want to, you could go and like do this sort of like sectioning from the middle of your hair and like make sure that you've got like properly like even sections through your hair. Just using like any old claw clip, I'm just gonna clip the one side of my hair out of the way so that it's not bothering me or interfering with me. I'm just going to pull my hair up into a single like pigtail on the side of my head, pretty high up, pretty near to the top, and securing that with a pretty thick hairband very tightly. I'm just brushing through that to make sure there's no knots. I'm going to take my brush and just very slightly tease the bottom underside of the ponytail, not much, and then just spray it with some hairspray. I'm using the Got to Be Glued. Now you want to grab and just create like a space bun. And pull it pretty tight. This has got to be a pretty tight space bun. As you can see, mine are not very big, which is the one side effect of having like 50% of your hair, if not more, buzzed off. Is that you don't then have much hair to work with. And I'm just kind of gonna secure that as well as I can with a few extra bobby pins. It's pretty well secured actually, but I'm still gonna go in with just a few extra. And I'm just going to repeat that on the other side of my head. I'm just using 2 hairbands on this side because it's a little bigger and a little less secure feeling. You've got the 2 space buns on the top of your head. You're just going to want to spritz them with a bit of hairspray. I sometimes even do like gel spray. Now it is time for the Cyberlox. So when you have like untangled and untied Cyberlox, they kind of have this curved shape to them, and you can see how this is obviously the inside and they're all being pushed out over this side. So what you're going to want to do is take this and flip it. And you're going to want to put this facing in towards your head. So just pick a side and basically put it kind of like upside down on itself, if that makes sense. So you want to, if this would be how you want it to fall on your head, like a space bun like this, you need to flip it. And then find the space bun that you want. And you're gonna have to do this by feel unless you've got like a mega mirror. I've got a mirror just here that I'm kind of looking into, but I'm still mostly doing this just by the feel of my hands. And then you're just going to want to pull these 2 black elastic straps, which are holding all of this together, and you're going to want to tie around the space bun. These straps on these particular ones are very thick, so they're like pretty much the same height as my space bun, so I'm just going to pull it up from under it a little bit to give it a proper anchor, and then really, really tightly pull that closed and then just double knot it. And then flip slightly more effortlessly than that. And at this point there's going to be a lot of foam bits that you might have to kind of rebend with your own fingers to kind of get them to fall in the correct way. And they're not small. As you can see, they're very big. They're not too heavy. The first time you wear them you'll definitely notice them, but I find like once you get used to them, I can wear very big ones like this, which are like not very short, and still be very comfortable wearing them. So I'm just going to go rinse and repeat You can get different lengths of these. I've seen them like be going down to like waist length before. I have to say I've never worn them like that before, so I couldn't tell you how hard that would be, but I can imagine it would be pretty heavy on your head to wear. So again, I'm just going to be taking the Cyberlox and flipping them so they're the right way around. And this is going to be even harder with this one because you've already got all of this that you're kind of having to manage. But try and just pull it all to the side. I did used to have like a massive clip thing that I would like clip them in together so that I could keep them out of the way. But I don't have that anymore. I don't know where it's gone. But yeah, just again, taking that and kind of just feeling around. This is where it gets really hard. As you can see, there's so much stuff on my head. So you can look in a mirror, but it's just kind of like, at least for me, a mess of just black and green. And then I'm just going to be tying that again. Just kind of using my hands. They're all falling over my face. Pretty tight. Going in to I can't even find the space bun of my own hair in this, and that's how much stuff there is on my head. I'm trying to just yank my own hair out from under it a little bit better than it is already. I'm also trying not to accidentally catch myself on fire because I have candles back there, which is probably not a smart idea, but oh well. And then just another tie around to properly secure it. I often will also just trim bits out of my Cyberlox, so I really don't like the way they're looking or they're sticking too much in an awkward direction. I will just simply cut them off. So yeah, optionally, and something I do like to do, is you can just take like little clips like this and kind of just go under the Cyberlox and give them like a tiny bit more lift. There's really not much being done, but it feels like something to me. And also as well, you can push some bobby pins around if it feels particularly weak in any areas. So like I'm feeling a bit of weakness at the top of this one here, so I'm just gonna push a bobby pin in under and around it. Luckily with a lot of these tubes that are made out of these, they're pretty easy to just stick stuff through, which is really fun for like accessorizing them. You can stick stuff in them. I've seen people with pins in them before, and stuff like that. Obviously they're not the greatest at keeping stuff in because it is just plastic tubes, but yeah. So that's kind of pretty much how you put Cyberlox in. It's a bit of a chaotic process, I'm sure you could tell. But they're very, very cool to have in. Very big, very bouncy, lots of fun. I love them very, very much. They are like one of my favourite accessories to wear. So next up is the outfit. While it looks complicated, Cybergoth style is actually pretty easy to obtain when you kind of deconstruct it down to its basic core components. So things you'll find a lot in Cybergoth outfits are coloured tights and layered tights, leg warmers or like big boots. You'll also find a lot of tutus, PVC skirts and dresses or like PVC leggings, trip pants and short shorts. Arm warmers are very common as well, and corsets are very common, specifically underbust or very heavily buckled or PVC corsets. Accessories, you'll often get like respirators and goggles, which are definitely harder to come by in sort of stylized ways, and obviously the Cyberlox. A lot of the core pieces to Cybergoth outfits can be found in like party shops or Halloween shops. I get a lot of my stuff on Vinted. It's a really good idea when it comes to secondhand shopping, specifically on Vinted, to scroll a lot and really train the algorithm. The better you train your algorithm, the better Vinted will work for you.